What role do you think government should play in making shows and films?
The role of government, it's incredibly important. What I'm encouraged by is we have so many storytellers in the country. This is such a remarkable place that links to everywhere, every corner of the world. You look at the languages spoken in this school, bringing the stories from their homelands and in telling the stories.
So that's part of a conversation between, obviously, Prime Minister Mark Carney and George Stroumboulopoulos, Canadian media personality and TV host, who's on the line right now. George, thanks for taking the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So listen, I'm trying to understand, what happened here or what's happening here. So you were going basically cross-country, looking for stories from Canadians, and you spent a lot of time putting this together, ultimately to show what?
Ultimately to show that Canadian stories being told by Canadians matter. And, we live, depending on which part of the country you're in, you face an onslaught of marketing budgets from other places, right, other countries. And it does matter for Canadians to tell Canadian stories. And we didn't set out to necessarily prove a point. We set out, and I wanted to go across the country to listen to Canadians to get a sense of what mattered to them, if this does matter, and what is it about the shows or the films they grew up watching that impacted them. So that was the whole idea. Let's see what we come back with. Let's see how Canadians view ourselves. For sure, we're living in this world with this insanity in the United States, and obviously the impact social media has had and meme culture have had on our politics in Canada. So it's a very transition time. And I think a lot of Canadians really doubled down on who we are. And, you know this at the Four Nations in Montreal, the way they sang the national anthem, the Canadian anthem, that's a thing, right? By the way, that story about the Quebecers singing that anthem traveled the world. Like, that's how big a deal it was, because I think people knew Canadians were all up in their feelings in 2025. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to explore where we were, and the whole team made about what does it mean to be a Canadian storyteller and that kind of thing.
Was this motivated then? I mean, I'm trying to put a timeline to this. Was it motivated by what we were hearing from the U.S.? Suddenly we're Canadians, elbows up, and we're proud, and we have to let each other. Is that what brought this on, or was this planned before that?
I don't know, because when they approached me, Elbows Up never came up. When they approached me, it was a different project. They approached me to make a thing, like a couple of promos, a few promos to celebrate Canadian stuff. And the gentleman and I who had spoken about this, we had talked at great lengths about how that would be fine, but that's not enough. What would be enough is to actually go talk to Canadians. And so for sure the Elbows Up thing had happened, but I think we didn't want to double down on that thing, because I think that was more reactionary and kind of missed the point of what was really important, which was how we got to be the storytellers we are. As you know, this country has been telling great stories long before this country was this country, right? So we wanted to really kind of avoid some of the emotional knee-jerk reactions. I know for sure it impacted how people felt when they responded to us, but that wasn't the reason.
Right. You have a great quote in here which says, there is not just one Canadian identity, it's the multitudes that make this culture so interesting and valuable. So I'm going to guess that's exactly what we found out.
It was early in the morning when he asked me that question, so that was the first thing that popped into my head.
But it's true, and I think that's interesting because, you know what, the more people you talk to, the more you begin to realize that's in fact accurate. That's the case.
And it really is what makes it special. I've been really privileged to be in, all 10 provinces and one of the territories in this country, and I don't really worry so much about what divides us. I think more about what do we agree on, and what we agree on is that we get to do our own thing and tell our own stories. And I think sometimes it's just a good reminder to people that whether you grew up watching, Bobinette, or you grew up watching Mr. Dress Up, or you grew up watching The Beachcombers or Schitt's Creek or whatever, or Shoresy or Hockey Night in Canada, whatever it is, or Much Music, that you have a connection to this country because of the Canadian storytellers. And you think about, your Margaret Atwoods and your Saul Bellows, and you think about Leonard Cohen and Neil Young and Joni, and you think about Cardinal Official and Chaos and now Drake. We have an enormous record of Canadian storytellers. And Canadians haven't done a great job of bragging about it. I didn't want to do the bragging thing because I think another thing that separates us in that multitudes conversation is I think nationalism is kind of sketchy and throughout history has led to some complicated ideas and ideologies. I just like it when we can just figure out a way to work together and tell stories. And so I didn't want to do it in a nationalist way. I wanted to do it in a way that talked about our individual identities. I'm the first person in my family born in Canada. So Canada means something different to me than it might mean, to you, Aaron. It might mean something different to the Prime Minister. It means something different to an Inuit, an Inuk, woman that I talked to up in Iqaluit. And I think that's okay, that we all have very different relationships with it.
Listen, I got to wrap up. How does this culminate, George? What are we going to see here as a final product?
So we're working on a few things. First of all, there's going to be three things: a wall of content on a variety of social media channels, including my Strombo ones. But then there's also going to be a series of short films that come out, and then a long form. So we haven't announced that yet. Okay. That announcement's going to come soon. But it's going to be just a lot of. We shot so much stuff, Aaron, like so much stuff, man. And so we have a few ways to release it.
Stories that made us. Going to be fun to look forward to this. I hope we can find out more, George, when you get closer to that time. I thank you so much for the time, and congratulations. Sounds like it's going to be pretty amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for your time.
Take good care. George Stroumboulopoulos. Stories as he's traveled across the country, and literally across the country, talking to all kinds of Canadians, including the Prime Minister, and by the way, entertainers as well. Very much looking forward to this.